Hi, my name is Cass Opal. I am the Director of Communication and Membership at First United Methodist Church, Omaha. I am also a certified candidate for ordained ministry, hopefully to become a deacon one day after I fulfill my seminary requirements and undergraduate ones. But today I am coming at you as the founding Wild Worship Omaha facilitator. I am very excited about our first Wild Worship service on March 20th at 5:30 at Standing Bear Lake. And I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the journey on how Wild Worship was sprouted and grown and planted. There will be puns. I'm so sorry, but I'm not. And tell you a little bit about what to expect in one of the services, and just invite you to get involved if you would like. So let's begin. Okay, so where did Wild Worship Omaha come from, and what is that? So, as I stated in the beginning of this video, I am a certified candidate for ordained ministry. I am on my own journey into servant ministry as a deacon. As I have been exploring different ways to live and lean into my calling and what that looks like, I came across this book, Church of the Wild by Victoria Loers. I devoured this book in about 24 hours, which is the fastest I've read a book that wasn't a fiction book in a very, very, very long time. I was completely enamored by the writing. I was engaged by the fact that she recognized great harm had been done by institutionalized religion, and that a chasm had been created between nature and man, and that we stopped finding the divine in creation. How can we say God created everything and then treat most of it, including humans, terribly? And so I really began the process of discernment. What would a wild church look like in Omaha? Can we do a wild church in Omaha? This is Nebraska. The weather's unpredictable at best. So what would that look like? Could we do every week? Probably not. Could we do once a month? Do I have the time for this? Those were the things that went through my head over and over and over again as I tried to figure out what I wanted to do. But then I slowed myself down. It was fall. Winter is never a good time to start a wild church in Nebraska, and I needed to ground myself, plant myself, and let my roots grow so that when spring came, we could sprout a wild church. So how did I ground and root myself? Well, first of all, I did a lot of praying and a lot of writing and a lot of reading. And then I did research into the Church of the Wild and the Wild Church Network. There is an entire nation, not just nation, worldwide network of wild churches called the Wild Church Network. And through them, I found a 7-week leadership course via Zoom with Victoria Loers, as well as Valerie Luna Searles. And together they do a 7-week leadership course to help you gain the knowledge and the information necessary to plant your own wild church. So I am 4 weeks into this 7-week leadership course. I have made connections not only with other people across this country, but there are people in my leadership course from Sweden, from Canada. It is incredible to make these connections worldwide, and with one purpose and one connection, and that is to restore the conversation between the divine creation and humanity. Now, to me, wild worship is not an either-or situation. It's not a situation where it's you either have to worship one way or have to worship another. It is come as you are, LGBTQ plus inclusive, loving, safe, and comes from a place of empathetic listening so that we can learn each other's stories and grow in community. And Wild Church is almost here, guys. It is March 20th is our first wild service. It is being held at Standing Bear Lake. The original event stated that it would be on the south side of the lake, but we are moving it to the north side of the lake just for accessibility purposes alone. And that is just to make sure that we have access to restrooms, nearby parking, so that people who might have mobility needs are uplifted and can be included. I sometimes have to use a cane. I've had chronic health issues and 4 back surgeries, so I also need to be able to access these spots. Wild Worship will take place in various city and state parks across Omaha primarily. There are some state parks kind of surrounding Omaha we might hit on, but that's going to also depend on what our community ends up looking like. The people that we draw. If we have people who have transportation issues, I'm not going to schedule something far away they can't make it to. I want to make sure that this is an inclusive space for all to feel welcomed. Some people really find their connection inside a building with music, and I think that's beautiful and valid. I have found my connection inside a building with music. Some people have been harmed by the building and the people inside the building, and they find their connection in community and spirituality and nature. I've also been harmed, and communities that I love and cherish have been harmed in the name of institutionalized religion. Just being a woman alone has been harmed by institutional religion. However, I believe in the message of Jesus. I believe in the Christ theology of loving your neighbor, creating community, having respect, taking care of the poor, taking care of the other, learning each other's stories so we can better love each other. So what can you expect from a Wild Worship service? You can expect to spend about an hour and 30 minutes, approximately, in community. We will start each service with an invocation as well as a land acknowledgement, because it is very important that we remember what land we are on and the stories that came before our feet. After that, we will open with some music and some poetry, some sacred storytelling and some conversation, maybe a little more poetry, and then an invitation to wander. Wandering might look different to different people. At Standing Bear Lake, there's some local paths, some local wooded areas that you can wander into. It is an invitation to get to know the land you're on, to say hello to the trees, the animals, to listen to the wind and the stories that the earth tells you when you're quiet and when you listen. After about 45 minutes of wandering, you will come back into the space, into the circle, in Standing Bear Lake's case, the picnic area, and then we will share with each other our experiences. If you are not called to wander, that's okay too. We will have activities at home base for you that are meditative in nature to still get the spirit of the wandering space, but also where you're not having to move around. For our first service, we will have nature mandalas. So I will have a couple examples already created that day just to show you kind of what it should look like, but there are no rules. You do what you do. You do what is called to you. And you can make some really beautiful mandalas with things like leaves and twigs and stone or rocks, pebbles, things like that. You can make some really cool things. And it is also sustainable, and there's nothing that has to biodegrade because it is all found in nature. So we will have activities for you as well. After we have completed our 45-minute wandering or meditative practice, then we will come back into the circle and have a storytelling time where we will either share our experiences, our art, or just sit silently and listen. It is whatever you are called to do. So this Wild Worship will change and evolve over the next year. I am truly hoping to call people into it. If you feel called to be a part of the steering committee, which will help us pick parks and decide our overreaching themes for the year, or help with media, photography, any of that kind of running at nature. If you have a calling to any of that after our first service, please come up to me and be like, I want to do the things, and I will help you do the things. If your calling is to worship planning with the music or the poetry, or you have poetry you'd like to share, maybe we can use it. I would love to make it a local collaborative community practice, because while I am called to start this and facilitate it, the reason that I have been very careful to call this a facilitative role instead of a pastor role or a leadership role, although I will be leading the services, is because I am facilitating this community and we will build it together. So what that looks like in the future might be very different from how it starts, based on the community that grows from it. And I'm very excited to invite you to our first service. I really hope you'll check it out. If it is not for you, that's okay too. I'm not going to feel hurt. This is for the people who feel called to experience it. This is for you. Because there are so many different ways to embrace God, Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, no matter your belief. And although our parent churches might be First United Methodist or Second Unitarian, we are a space for all of the divine creation to come together in community and love each other. Not let our differences divide us. We are better in community when we learn about each other and take that knowledge to grow, to be better towards each other. Empathy is not a weakness, despite what Elon Musk says. It is our greatest strength. It is how we build a better community for our children. I hope to see you there. So much love and blessings to you all. And I will have more little tidbits and details coming, including prayers and poetry that I'm just excited to share. See you all on March 20th. Hopefully. If not, may you be blessed.